Hello, everybody. We are back for the continuation of the My Favorite All-Time LJN WWF Wrestling Superstar Tournament. That's right. I cannot sing your praises enough, thanking you guys for the fantastic feedback that I've gotten from just the first 4 opening round matches. You've all been fans of. We've gotten feedback. We've gotten emails. Tons of comments. Thank you all very much. Keeps it going. That's why I'm back down here 24 hours later to do it again. And we're going to do it tomorrow. And we're going to do it the next day. And we're going to get through this. Also today, maybe later tonight, or maybe tomorrow, I want to interrupt the tournament and talk about my favorite people in the world, XOX Customs. They've done it again. I got another surprise package in the mail, and many of you have it already. Many of you know about it. The Ric Flair LJN Galoob. It's the Galoob Ric Flair made into LJN size, and it's outstanding. But not only that, I'm also going to give you a little bit of breaking news from Net and XOX Customs. There's 3 more figures coming. And once those 3 figures are finished and produced and done, we're going to rock that tournament. We're not going to rock the tournament. I'm rocking the tournament. We're going to rock that contest where we're going to, well, we'll talk about it all. But I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. And I also want to talk about my renewed interest in movies, Blu-rays, and what I've been doing with those. I've been watching a ton of movies. I've been buying a ton of movies, and I want to talk about that with you too. So we're gonna do an XOX show. We're gonna do a movie show. Maybe I'll show off some movies that I've been watching, and talk about why my interest in movies has been reignited. But anyway, let's get back to the tournament. That's why you're here. So far, Jimmy Snuka has defeated Andre No. 1. Hulk Hogan has defeated Big John Studd. The Iron Sheik defeated Andre No. 2, short-haired Andre. And Greg Valentine destroyed George the Animal Steele. All to move on to the second round. But we can't get to the second round until we finish the first round. So here we go. Here we go. First round matchup. Now these are just based on shelf positioning, and shelf positioning is based on order of series. So these are all in order based on release. We've got King Kong Bundy against Brutus Beefcake. Brutus Beefcake could use a cleaning. He's a little scruffy. And Brutus Beefcake usually had a pretty big waist. And I don't know if I'm able to get the tag title around his waist. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And if you've run out of these titles, you can also go to XOX, Random Treasures on Etsy, and get your custom LJN world title. Anyway, Brutus Beefcake. Okay, lots and lots and lots and lots of action in my Fed. Mainly as tag team, obviously, with Greg Valentine. Multi-time tag team champion with Greg Valentine. And a great looking figure, right? The Jay Leno face is a little off. I think people also said it was Sean Penn. They get a lot of, Brutus looks like Sean Penn, Jay Leno. We got the classic Brutai sequined gloves, which are good. The pants. I mean, what are you gonna do when you're gonna mass produce something? You got to go a little. God, in today's world, kids would go insane if the pants were painted on one side, but not painted on the back. They would lose their minds. Where's the stripes on the back? You skimped out. But you know, this worked for me. It was a fine figure. I used the heck out of him. Good guy, bad guy. I think I definitely feuded Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake at some point. So a good figure. Taking on King Kong Bundy, who, you know, this is the first time that I realized just how bulky and heavy and deadly these figures are. King Kong Bundy is an absolute weapon. And I don't want to get all weird serial killer on you, but you could really hurt somebody with this figure. I mean, this would kill somebody. This is hard rubber. This would kill somebody. Probably your worst pose ever for an action figure who's supposed to be wrestling. You know, and we could have easily gotten the arms up a little bit. We could have easily gotten that pose a little bit. I don't understand, you know, why the hands are down. However, we're kids, and it's the 80s, and we're playing. We're using our imagination, and I used the heck out of King Kong Bundy. I absolutely did. You know, feuding with Hogan, beating up everybody else. You could easily have King Kong Bundy versus Junkyard Dog. JYD could get some offense and then ultimately lose to Bundy. Same with like Tito, you know, same match concept. I definitely used him. I would say I used Beefcake slightly more than Bundy, but Bundy got definitely a lot of play. So, the choice. Just because a slight edge based on play type and action, play pose and action in my Fed. The slight nod, the very slight nod, goes to Brother Brutai. Brutus Beefcake is moving on in the tournament. So we'll jot him down. So both Valentine and Beefcake have moved on. The next matchup, to challenge Brother Brutai in the second round, we've got Hillbilly Jim and Paul Orndorf. All right. Hillbilly Jim is an absolutely great figure. Again, another great play pose. I know I'm complaining about the arm down, but it's not as down, and it's usable. It's usable. We got a great clothesline, punching, elbow drop arm. The figure looks great. You know, the beard hair combo is maybe a little much, but you know, that's Hillbilly Jim. I don't remember Hillbilly Jim when in the WWF that I'm watching right now. I'm up to like September '84. Hillbilly Jim's in the audience. They're doing that whole "Who is that crazy man?" and they're actually calling him a hillbilly, right? Which you know, they're saying, "Wow, who's that big hillbilly in the audience?" So they're calling him a hillbilly in the audience. If you remember, Hillbilly Jim would just, you know, the camera would suddenly find him in the crowd for 2 or 3 weeks on syndicated WWF, and you know, that's how and then he saves Hulk Hogan from a beatdown, whatever. Anyway, I don't remember him wearing the red T-shirt underneath, so I got to go back and look at that. You know, he's got the blue hanky hanging out of his back there. That would have been nice if it was red. The hat, you know, one of the first figures with accessories. You know, we got the belts, we got Piper's kilt, we got Hillbilly's hat. So, you know, part of Series 2, we started getting some accessories. JYD's chain. Here's the thing: I never used Hillbilly Jim. I really didn't. And I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I should have turned Hillbilly Jim bad, and I should have had him just be, you know, a backwoodsy, almost like like the Wyatt family type of bad guy. But who was thinking about that in 1986? But you know, he could have just been a big bruising, roughneck hillbilly bad guy. But I never did that. And I basically never played with him because, I don't know, I didn't really care about Hillbilly Jim in the WWF. I do remember, and it's story time now, I do remember watching WrestleMania 5, Hogan versus Savage. Playing with wrestlers while watching the pay-per-view was a must-do. But then I got like sidetracked by the pay-per-view, focused on that, and as soon as it ended, I just randomly had Hillbilly Jim turn on Hogan, and those two had a match. And it was fun being a Hillbilly bad guy, right? So, Hillbilly Jim taking on Paul Orndorff. Now, honestly, one of the worst figures. He's gigantically tall and really super muscular. And, you know, I don't know. He's really tall. And here's when I realized he was really tall. You ready for this? I realized he was really tall as an adult. I realized Jake the Snake was really small as an adult. I realized the British Bulldogs were tiny as an adult. As a kid, I didn't care. So we've got this gigantic, tall Paul Orndorff with this really bubbly, muscular, cartoony body. But I used the heck out of him as a kid. And he was always bad. I never had good guy Paul Orndorff because Paul Orndorff should have really never been a good guy. Watching Paul Orndorff come to the WWF in late 83 and watching his early work in 84, oh my God, he's terrifying. He is a scary, stiff, rough wrestler who looks like he might jump the barrier and beat the heck out of the people that are calling him Paula. For real. And he crushes some of the lesser known enhancement workers in the WWF. I mean, he kills them. He kills them. So Paul Orndorff I always used as a bad guy. The look of Hillbilly is better than Paul Orndorff. The history with me and Paul Orndorff is more than Hillbilly. I am eliminating Hillbilly the Jim, and we're choosing Paul Orndorff to move on in the tournament, and he will be taking on Brutus Beefcake. Tough one there. Next up, we've got Junkyard Dog and Nikolai Volkov. This happens to be the red chain version of Junkyard Dog. Never understood that. Would love to talk to an LJN creator, maker, former employee. Get some explanation about why Junkyard Dog had 3 chains. And in pretty much all of the world, chains are silver. And in Junkyard Dog's entire history, his chain was silver. So I don't know why we needed a black chain, and I don't know why we needed a red chain at all. But we have them, and I think it was just to drive collectors insane, even in 1986. They knew that this was going to drive us insane in 85 or whatever. All right, so anyway, great pose, great pose. Junkyard Dog, again, was always the guy that you would grab if you wanted to have a match. If you wanted to go against Bundy, Junkyard Dog. If you wanted to go against Valentine, Junkyard Dog. And you could have a good offensive put out by the Dog, only to lose in the end. Junkyard Dog versus Savage. Great go-to guy. He's your utility player, ladies and gentlemen. He's your guy that can play every position. Junkyard Dog. You could team him up with Hogan as like a surprise partner. Oh, it's the Dog, right? I used him a lot. Now, one of the most embarrassing childhood stories that I have is I had 2 Junkyard Dogs for some reason. I don't know where I got the second one, but I had 2 Junkyard Dogs, and I teamed up the 2 Junkyard Dogs, and I called them the Junkyard Dogs. Yeah. That's creative. Junkyard Dog, red chain, a lot of play, great looking figure, great play pose, great figure. Nikolai Volkov. We have another accessory. We have the classic Russian hat. That really just makes me think of Seinfeld, the Seinfeld George Costanza rat hat episode. The arms on Nikolai are a bit stumpy, right? They're a little short for his body. He's got the T-shirt on, the USSR T-shirt. That's Always kind of a drawback. But Nikolai Volkov got a ton of tag team action with Iron Sheik. I mean, Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov were really one of the first LJN era tag teams, right? So I would team them up a lot. And I had so many matches, Junkyard Dog, I'm sorry, I had so many matches, the British Bulldogs against Sheik and Volkov. So many times. Trading the tag team titles back and forth so many times. And one of the more fun matches I had, because this was happening, this happened a couple of times in the WWF. This happened a couple of times. The Dream Team, Greg Valentine, Brutus Beefcake, took on Sheik and Volkov in a bad guy versus bad guy tag match. And I actually had that match a few times, and it was fun to play bad guys against bad guys. Definitely a lot of play, a lot of tag team play, though, not a lot of singles action. So we've got Junkyard Dog, we got Nikolai Volkov. JYD gets the edge in look. JYD gets the edge in history in the Federation. JYD power slams and thumps Nikolai Volkov out of the tournament. JYD moves on. Final matchup. Roddy Piper and Magnificent Morocco. Piper has one of my favorite accessories. One of my favorite accessories is the kilt. One of my most lost accessories was the kilt. I had pretend kilts. I had cloth kilts that my mother made. I had paper kilts because I could never keep a kilt. I also had a Piper who was absolutely destroyed paint-wise, and I decided to repaint him at all of, 11 years old. And so I took light blue paint, baby blue paint, and painted his shirt. So he had a light blue, baby blue painted shirt. But I played with him just as much. So the paint chipped off even faster than like actual LJN paint. So I had the most beat up Piper in the world. And for some unknown reason, I renamed him Red River Jack. Red River Jack. And his finishing move was a flip off the second rope. A back flip, and he would land on the guy, on his back. I don't know. I never played Roddy Piper as Roddy Piper because honestly, I hated Roddy Piper, the wrestler. I really do. I know you guys know that. I know many of you disagree. I hated him so much, not as a heel, I just hated him. I hated his promos. I hated his goofy, coked up, psychotic, manic interviews where he thought he was saying cool stuff, and for some reason we all thought he was saying cool stuff, but it was some of the dumbest stuff that made no sense whatsoever. I couldn't stand it. And as a wrestler, he's a kick and punch guy, he's a finger poke, he's an eye rake, he's a run out of the ring guy. I didn't know how to wrestle with Roddy Piper, so I never did. But he got some play as Red River Jack. On the other hand, Magnificent Morocco is one of my favorite figures. Absolutely fantastic play pose, incredible likeness. The Magnificent Morocco shirt is okay. It's okay. I didn't, you're a kid. You don't care that wrestlers are wearing shirts all that much. But crazily enough, and I've told this story a million times, I didn't play with him a lot as Magnificent Morocco. I played with him a lot as Mike Rotundo. Just did. And he got so much play. I loved the wrestler Don Morocco. I love all of his matches. I loved the figure. I loved the pose. I loved everything I did with him creatively. Hands down, no-brainer. Magnificent Morocco destroys Roddy Piper. Look for Morocco to go pretty far in the tournament. He'll be taking on JYD in the next round. Which might be a little tougher than you think. All right, so that's it. Snuka, Hogan, Sheik, Valentine, Brutus, Orndorf, JYD, and Morocco have moved on. Tomorrow's matchups will be Bruno Sammartino taking on Dynamite Kid. Davey Boy Smith has to go all the way down to the next shelf to take on Randy Savage. We've got all managers up there. All right, so Davey Boy Smith against Randy Savage. Oh, what a horrible matchup. Oh, no. Oh, please let me No. Tito Santana against Terry Funk. Grr. And Ricky Steamboat against Jesse Ventura. That's the next round of matchups. I'm going to have to sleep on Tito Santana versus Terry Funk. That is horrible. I know who I'm going to choose, but that is horrible. That's a bad matchup. That's almost worse than Funk against Steamboat or Funk against Savage. That could have been a finals match. Anyway, that's the tournament. Glad you guys are loving it. We're going to keep it going. We'll talk about movies and XOX customs a little later tonight. There might be 3 videos up for me tonight. I don't know. We got to talk about XOX. We got to show off that Ric Flair. I got to make the announcement on 3 more figures that are coming from her. You'll love all 3 of them. And then we got to talk about what the heck I'm doing with movies. I might have just said that already. Anyway, we'll see y'all later. Good night now.